to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Oh, dice and woes of life, love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, smoke is reflected. Often mirrors a pit, clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving the grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near, stay there. Remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our work is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you conceive.
Boom. Yes, it is. The truth is what you can see. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark, and it is Tuesday, May 20th, Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals for the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm excited about tonight. A little nervous, but I'm excited because the simple fact is Game 1. And our guys have been flowing. And SJ's, what did he shoot? He shot, 60% the last 3 games. And like I said, from the time that he was, from Game 5, what did I do with that stat? Okay, here it is. From going 1 for 6 for his first 5 shots. Hey, Burgess, the truth is what you can see. Yes, it is. That's what we do here, Burgess. From SJ in the start of Game 5, he was 1 for 6. The rest of the times, Game 5, 6, and 7, he was 34 for 42. So, what I had said before was us losing that first game and then us getting back into the groove. The more we played, the better it was for the Thunder because it got us into a groove. It got our young players, even though our numbers, and we'll go over that, what our numbers were for shooting percentages versus the season versus now, you can kind of see what it was. But that being said, it's just great to be playing again. We just played. Everybody's got, we got into a groove. Everybody's playing. Everybody's kind of knowing what they're supposed to be, what their roles are. Now, whether Isaiah Joe will play more this series, I do believe that he will because he just was a matchup nightmare for us with them. Just like Game 7, give Mark Daigneault his flowers for putting Caruso and whoever our defensive game planner is, for putting Caruso on, fronting Jokic and then having Chet or iHeart behind him and then double teaming Jokic, and every time he got the ball, make him pick the ball up quicker because before what we were doing in games, I think it was 4 and 5, we were doing more, not fronting him, but doing more of the double, kicking the ball out quickly. And then he got used to that, so then he was just pounding us down low. And then once he was fronting and then he couldn't throw the lob over because you got somebody sitting there waiting for the lob, then you couldn't do that and you had to bring Jokic at the top. And Jokic at the top against a smaller guy trying to put his hand, trying to put the ball on the floor, that's not going to work. And that's the same thing we see with Chet. When Chet tries to put the ball on the floor against little guys, you can't really do that because now you're playing at their level. KD had that problem for a while. So anyway, but what we're going to do today is we're going to preview the game, and we're going to preview, it was 2-2. Okay, everybody remembers that it was 2-2. Okay, we won. We got beat in Minnesota. We won here, got beat in Minnesota the first game, beat them the second time, and then, or maybe lost to them the second, whatever it was. We'll go over it here in a minute. Let me see, what was it? That's driving me crazy. I'll go over it in a minute when we get to that point. And then, of course, we had a 24, 26-point lead, and they came back and beat us. And the thing that I loved about what I saw today was that they were talking about the matchup between SGA and Ant-Man. And they showed Ant-Man blocking SGA's shot. Remember, which was the key block that would have put us up, or kept us up, or put us up 3 or whatever it was. And that key block that he came from behind, and SGA did not see him from behind, and Ant-Man doing what Ant-Man does, he scored. And I love that because now that reminds SGA what happened, like he needed a reminder, there's certain games that you don't forget as a player. There are games that I remember in high school. There's games I remember in college. There's games I remember I was playing pro ball. There's games that you remember, certain key situations that you did not deliver and what happened. Now, I remember pretty much all of my, I'll say I remember all of my not delivering. Okay, I remember it because there was not that many, but I do remember the ones I did not deliver in. Games I missed a game-winning shot, or I missed a free throw, or I missed a layup, or my guy I didn't get a rebound, or something. There's always something in there that I did not do that cost us a game, in my opinion. And so, because the whole thing is you have to start with yourself and admit what you did wrong, and not that happened. Like, I never missed more than when the games that I missed a shot. I never missed that shot more than once. I never made a mistake more than one time at the end of a game. If I do that, okay, I know I did that. Hey, that shit ain't gonna happen again. I can promise you that. I ain't making that mistake again. And of course, today I am wearing my overalls, my Thunderalls today, because it's the playoffs, and I got them for that specific reason. And I will have on my Thunderalls today. So, and we are 2-0, knock on wood, continue that streak wearing those today. Now, let's get into the 2-2, okay? Because, excuse me, I'm sorry, did I just burp in the microphone? I think I just did. Let's get into this series and what it means. It's 2-2, okay? And when I look at this series and I look at what happened between us, okay, and I hope this doesn't mess you guys up, but I got to go back over here. The first game that Timberwolves beat us, then we beat. Wait, hold on. Okay, here, this is better. The first game we won. Second game we lost. Third game we won. So we won, lost, won, lost. Okay, I had it backwards, but that's what happened with us. Okay, we won, lost, won, lost. But this is the series. Okay, it's 2-2. Here's what the averages are: points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, and 3-point percentage. We averaged 118. They averaged 118.8. We had 44 rebounds. We averaged 44 rebounds. They averaged 48.8. We averaged 27.3 assists. They averaged 25.3. We averaged 9 steals. They averaged 5. One thing I left out here, I should put turnovers in there. Blocks, steals, we had 9.8. They had 5. Blocks, 6.3 to their 4.8. And remember, they have Rudy Gobert, but they only averaged 4.8. We don't get our shot blocked a whole lot. We just don't. Field goal percentage, we shot 46.6. They shot 45.1. 3-point percentage, we shot 35.6. They shot 33.5. I don't know what to tell you, but to me, the series is pretty much even, okay? The series is pretty much even on what happened, what the scores were, and all of that. So when you look at the series and you look at what happened in the series, okay, and you look at what we did, what they did, and what happened, it's simple. It's crazy how close the games were. The first game, we won 113-105. The second game, they won 101-116. Third game, we won 130-127. And then, of course, that fourth game, they came back and beat us 131-128. I don't know how you cannot be more even in a series. I don't know how the series can be more even. That's basically what it is. It's even between what we're doing and what they're doing. Okay? It's even. There's no way around it. It's pretty much set on what – I'm sorry, I'm messing up here. I messed this up. Okay, let's see if we get this right. I'm sorry I messed it up, Burgess. I'm gonna redo it, bro. Sorry about that. I'm gonna kick back on because it messed me up. I'm off tail on what I'm doing. So I'm sorry about that, Burgess. I'm gonna redo it. Get back up here. Okay, now. Sorry about that, bro. Okay, there you go. Anyway, that's this. When you look at this series, it's even. Okay, it's even between us and them. It's the numbers are saying that. So what does it really mean? What it really means is something simple. It's going to come down to who wants it the most, who executes. And it's going to come down to coaching. And what I mean by coaching is the correct lineups. And I'm sorry about that, Burgess. I kicked you guys off and all that, and I had to come back on. But hopefully you guys will come back. But that's what it means. it's going to come down to, can our coach outcoach their coach? Finch versus Dagno. This is Finch's second time in the Western Conference Finals, 2 years in a row. Ant-Man's second time in a row, 2 years in a row. This is our first time with the coach and our first time since 2016. So that gives the advantage to them. Now, my guy Randy Wright, the commander, sent me this thing today. It was about the number of Knicks players and how of their 3 Knicks players that were on their team last year, 2 of them are at the Timberwolves, and one of them is Oklahoma City. Now, last year they got beat in Game 7 at home against the Indiana Pacers, who they're playing to go play the Celtics last year. And like I said, I don't think it would have mattered with the Boston Celtics. They were not going to beat the Knicks. They were not going to beat the Celtics, just like Indiana was not going to beat the Celtics. So regardless of who played the Celtics last year, the Celtics were going to win. So when I look at this series, it's evenly matched. And when you match up Ant-Man versus SGA, advantage Oklahoma City. Barely. Now, by a lot, because to me, the top 5 players in the NBA are Jokic, SGA, Ant-Man, Jason Tatum, Giannis. Those are your top 5. Jokic, SGA, Giannis, Jason Tatum, Ant-Man. To me, those are the top 5 players in the league. That's it. So you have 2 of the top 5 players going at it. I'm gonna give SGA the slight advantage. Not much, even though Anthony Edwards. I don't know if you're watching the show today. He came on our show the other night. But I'm gonna give my guy the advantage, like Minnesota Timberwolves are going to give their guy, as you should. You're supposed to give Anthony Edwards the advantage. I'm supposed to give SGA advantage. That's not a slight against him. That's not a slight against SGA for coming from the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're supposed to be for your guy. If you're not, then what the hell's wrong with you? Then you do the second thing. You go Rudy Gobert versus iHeart. I'm going to give the advantage to iHeart. Then you go Naz Reid versus Chet. Chet's from Minnesota, so that has a lot to do with it. I think he'll show up big time more there than he has here, than he did in Oklahoma City. But I'm going to give the advantage to Nas because Nas just outplays us. He just kills us every time, so I'm going to give the advantage to Nas there. Julius Randle, I guess it'd be Julius versus Chet. So I'm going to give the advantage right there to Chet. The way they've been playing the playoffs, I'm going to give that advantage to Julius. But I'm going to say even. Okay? Then you got McDaniel versus J-Dub. I'm going to give McDaniel versus Dort. I'm going to give the advantage to Dort. And then you've got Connolly versus J-Dub. I'm giving J-Dub the advantage. So we have the advantage SGA. We have the advantage J-Dub. I think Dort and McDaniel are even. I'm going to give the slight advantage to Julius Randle over Chet thus far, because Chet has been consistent, but he hasn't really done anything for me to go, wow, Chet, he's just been consistent. I mean, he really hasn't. I haven't been like, wow, he has no 20-point games in any playoff appearances. So I haven't seen that game where he's just going off. I just haven't seen it yet. Not to say that he can't, not to say that he won't, but thus far we haven't seen it. And thus far, J-Dub hadn't played well up until Game 7. And he had that 17-point second quarter, which really stretched the game out. So that's how I break it down. One for us with SGA, one for them with Julius Randle, one for us with J-Dub. And then the rest is just kind of Dort, McDaniel. They're both going to play great defense, but the question is which one of them is going to give you something offensively. Now, if I do McDaniel versus Caruso, then that's when the advantage comes in that second group. Because you got Nickeil Alexander Walker, I'm giving Caruso that. Okay? Then you've got Nas, who comes off the bench, Who do I'm going to give the advantage to? I'm going to give the advantage to Nas versus Wiggins versus whomever. I'm going to give the advantage to Nas because he just kills us every time he sees us. So when you look at that, that's how. Then when you got Kaysen, I'm going to give us the advantage there. So we've got SGA the advantage, Kaysen the advantage, Caruso the advantage, J-Dub the advantage. And they've got three. They've got Nas, they've got Julius Randle, and they've got that's it. That's the two. Oh, and Nas. I'm sorry, that's three. So those are their three that they have, and we have four. So it's evenly matched, and you can see the numbers. So we're going to see what's going to happen. It's going to be who plays who win. And Daignault cannot be, he's got to understand that Finch is going to go, whatever Daignault does, he's going to go against Finch on that, okay? That's what he's going to do. Finch is going to look at him and go, he's playing that group, okay, let me do this. Kind of like, remember when he was playing J-Dub against Jokic and Murray? They figured him out. Okay, this is what you're going to do. We're going to play these guys against your second guy. So it's about matchups. It's about lineups. It's about understanding the chess pieces in the game and how the floor is played. That's what makes the difference. And so if Daignault can just have his not do anything, excuse me, to put us in jeopardy, but to keep us in the game, we shall win. It's not rocket science, but it's all about what he does. It's all about how he does it. If he does it right, we win. If he doesn't, we lose. Because evenly matched with players are there. 4-3 of us advantage just to have it out of the top 7. It could be 5-2, but I'm going to give them some respect. So that's how I look at this matchup. It's going to come down to how well our role players play at home, which they should play good. They should be on a roll after Sunday. And I said in the Denver series, the longer we play, the better for us because that gets all of our players back into the role, back into the groove, getting back into the habits of playing. Because remember, SJ was off for 13 days? Then we played 4 games and he was off for another 7 or something crazy. So it took him a while to get back into motion. And like I said, going from 1 for 6, start of game 5, he is 34-42. So he's now in the groove. He's back to playing. He's back in the groove. J-Dub, he only had 2 games out of 7. He had 2 games out of 7. Oh, let's say I'm gonna give him 3 games. Okay, 3 games out of 7. Chet is just steady. He's not really doing a whole lot. But we need Isaiah Joe. We need Dort to make shots because if Dort's making shots, Isaiah Joe's making shots, we'll be fine. They're going to put a zone against us and box SGA. They did that in the win game 4, the 4th game against us. That's what they did. Went zone, boxed SGA. And then we shot 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. What did we learn in the Denver series? Denver did the same thing. And I told y'all after that loss, teams are going to start doing what against us? Zone, 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 zone. And they did. Because we don't have Josh Giddey, that guy that we can give the ball to at the free throw line and then let him exploit whatever the hell's going on in the lane, he was fantastic. And we were attacking the basket from the baseline because if you're a zone and you've got the ends coming, which is Chet on the baseline coming, and then we've got a guy who can attack the lane and throw a correct lob, which J-Dub can't do. He can do it, but he's not consistent enough to be able to make that play because that's not in his skill set. Daignault's trying to develop that. But that's not in J-Dub's skill set. You can see sometimes he throws it on target. Sometimes he throws it too high because it's just not what he does. But Caruso can throw it. SGA can throw it, but they're not going to give it to SGA at the free throw line. That's not happening. So you give SGA out the top, you kick it in, you do that. And you get him out of that zone, get him back into man-to-man. Once it gets back into man-to-man, then SGA can make his moves and do what he needs to do in order to create for everyone else. Because as I said many, many times, as SGA goes, the Thunder goes. I know that Sam Presti doesn't believe and doesn't love the individual adding on, having a superstar and adding on, he wants a team concept, not an individual, and I get that. But that's not what we have. We have an individual who is a great player individually, which is what Russell was. Individually, he was a one-on-one guy. But then he has the skill of Kevin Durant being able to pass the ball, being able to shoot the ball, being able to be efficient. So you have Kevin Durant skill-wise, You have Russell Westbrook, dog wise, as far as like I talked to this guy about, we don't have any dogs. He's high. He doesn't, it's so funny as these guys who are very intelligent in what they do, whether they're a doctor, lawyer, you're very intelligent. But when it comes to basketball, and no matter what, I'm smart, you can't tell me you're not going to change my mind. What the fuck are you talking to me for? Don't ask me questions. If you ain't gonna take a person who played at the highest level, who played professionally, if you're not gonna take his word, what the hell are you talking to me about basketball for? Go talk to your buddies over there, because y'all both know the same. So don't sit there and ask me for questions or ask me about something I'm telling you where you're wrong and telling you just because you think you're smarter than me, and you are book wise, and you should be able to do that. But other than that, shut the hell up. You know what the hell you're talking about. You're an idiot. And it's so funny is we have the dog in him. So he's got Kevin Durant's I just want to hoop and being able to have the skill level. And he's got Russell Wilson's ability to be a leader and get in somebody's face. You saw that with J. Will the other day. When J. Will committed that stupid foul, SJ went and grabbed him and jumped all over him about it. That's what you do. Kevin Durant wasn't really like that. But skill-wise, him and SJ are a lot alike. And as I've said, Kevin Durant is one of my top 10 players of all time once he's done. It's just ridiculous. There's no way you can keep it from him because he's done something that no one else has done. But I did see a thing about Tom Chambers, and most of y'all don't even know who Tom Chambers is. But anyway, Tom Chambers was the first 6'11", 7-foot guy who was athletic, who could shoot the three, who could take it down low, left hand, right hand, could score mid-range. He was unbelievable. 20,000 points, not in the Hall of Fame. But it was Kevin Durant first. Then the next guy up was probably, I'm not going to call Dirk athletic, but he could shoot the three, he could score, he could do whatever. He's not Tom Chambers and he's not Kevin Durant, but he is a 7-footer who can shoot the three, who can take you off the dribble a little bit, back you down and score. Tom Chambers was way more athletic. Kevin Durant's way more athletic. But that's how I break down those two. Burgess, everyone is knowledgeable in their own context. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Burgess. That's what I was talking about him. I was like, bro, you're very knowledgeable in what you're talking about when it comes to law. But when you come over here and you start asking me, start telling me about basketball, and I'm like, no, you're wrong. And you go, well, you're not going to change my mind. Well, don't have to come talk to me about basketball. Go talk to them over there. How the hell are you going to tell me about something you don't even play and you weren't very good at, and you're going to tell me about something? I said, no, that's not how it is. And you're going to go, well, you're not going to change my mind. Well, get the hell away from me. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to listen to me, then don't talk to me. Go talk to somebody else who believes what you believe instead of you talking to me, because this is the sign of a smart person. Smart people have the ability to admit when they're wrong, and when someone has a better argument than they do, they go, yep, that's a good point. And that's one thing about me. If you make a better point than me, I'm like, you know what, you're right. I've done that several times, and I have my close friends who will tell you, I've admitted when I was wrong. That's hard for me to say, as Nathan knows, but I will admit man, you know what, you're right. I was wrong about that. But there's people, when you sit there and tell me you're not going to change my mind, then get the hell away from me, because you're a dumbass. You're an arrogant person who thinks you know everything. And those are the people who are the dumbest, are those people. And like I said, what did Real Roger say? Same thing kind of what Burgess says. Everybody is dumb depending on what the subject matter is. Everybody's an idiot. Everybody's stupid depending on what the subject matter is. You go to the hood, I promise you're an idiot. If you're not from there, you're trying to go in the hood, there's guys who they understand. They know. They're very knowledgeable when it comes to that. An attorney, if you need law advice, some advice about law, go to an attorney. If you're sick, go to a doctor. If you need training, go to somebody who does sports, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, soccer, golf, whatever. Go to somebody who's knowledgeable about that, because that's what they're good at. I believe everybody is good at what they do, and I'm going to come to you. I always go, okay, that's not my forte. That's not where I'm at. Help me. Because I don't know, you do. I'm going to take care. I'm going to have my opinion, but I'm going to listen to what you say. Now, it depends on what I think about your opinion. If your argument is better than mine, if you make sense, then I'm like, you're right. I don't do it very often, but I've had people, like I have another friend of mine who does the same thing. I was like, man, and he was an excellent football player. And I would say, okay, yeah, you're right about football. And then when it comes to basketball, no matter what I said, oh, man, you ain't going to never change my mind. Then don't talk to me about basketball. The Thunder are sitting in a perfect situation to get to the finals and win the chip. But it's going to come down to our coaching, his lineups, his flow of the game, understanding of those are what it comes down to. Every time it comes down to coaching. At this point, when teams are this evenly matched, it's going to come down to coaching. Can this guy stay out of his own way in order for us to win? Okay? Because there should have never been a game 7 because we should have never game 1. They beat us twice. They didn't beat us 3 times. They beat us twice. We gave them a victory. You can't give away wins, so don't do that again. Be able to, as my friend Jennifer says, you have to understand to be able to read the room, which means what? You have to be instinctual about what's happening at that particular time and go with the flow of what's going on right then and there. Like game 1, 7 seconds left. You're up 3. And Gordon has the ball at the free throw line. He's guarded by Alex Caruso. And you foul him. Why are you fouling him at all? Bro, you got to get all the way up the court against Alex Caruso one-on-one in 7 seconds to get off a good 3? That ain't happening. Not with you. And you don't have ball handling skills? No way. That is not happening. What's going to happen is he's going to mess with you and you're going to pick the ball up and then you got to figure out who to pass the ball to and try to pass the ball to somebody. By the time they pass it, somebody's going to have to throw up a shot, a prayer. And if it goes in, okay, so what? It's overtime. But the chances of any of that happening is very slim. That's how you win ball games. That's how you stay in the room. That's how you read the room. That's how you become instinctual. You can't sit there and go, this is what we do. You don't foul a guy when don't take time off. But I promise you he won't make that mistake again. Like I said earlier, you learn from your mistakes. You make a mistake, you learn from it. You don't do it again. I've never missed the same shot twice. I've never committed the same. I've committed the same fouls multiple times. We all have. You reach. That would be a lot for me to say that I not commit reaching fouls over and over and over. Because you do. Sometimes it's the carrots, right? Sometimes the apple is there, you want to reach for it. The orange is there, you want to reach for it. I was going to say some other fruit. I am going to say it anyway. Hell with the piece of watermelon is there, you're going to reach for it. You just are. And you can't help it. What's that, Angel? You're going to reach for it. And that's the beautiful thing about sports. That's the beautiful thing about competition. That's the beautiful thing about when things are even. When you know that you're playing an opponent and y'all are right there together. There's really few differences between y'all. And you guys have to go at it. There's nothing better than that. There's nothing, I was telling somebody the other day. There are 2 things I miss about playing professionally and being infamous. Is number 1, the competition. Of knowing that I've got to go against this guy. Knowing I got to go up against this guy. I'm loving it. Knowing I got to go up against certain people. Like back when we had to play when I went up against Randy Wright. Knowing I'm going against these guys. Knowing I'm going against Ray Willie. Knowing I'm against Sunvo. Knowing I'm going against whomever. Knowing I'm going up against these guys. They know I'm coming. I know they coming. Going against Wayman Tisdale. He knows I'm coming. I know he coming. But you know what? He know I'm coming too. I love that. I miss that competition. I love when you're playing against somebody and it's even. And it's about, I'm going to do my best to bust you and you're going to do your best to bust mine. We know that's what it comes down to. It comes down to execution. It comes down to will. And it comes to your ability to decide, I'm going to impose my will over you no matter what you do. And knowing you're coming at me and I've got to stop you. That's what it comes down to. That's the beauty of it. That's the wonderful part of it. That's what it's all about. That's the excitement. And like I said, we have 2 of the top 5 guys going head-to-head in the NBA. In the conference finals to get to this who's going to win their first chip. I know what our guy's going to do. I know what their guy's going to do. But the difference is, does our guy have more help than theirs, or does their guy have more help than us? That's the question. Because I can promise you this, number one is this. McDaniel, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, SGA's cousin, and Anthony Edwards are going to be coming at SGA. And we know on the flip side of that, Dort, Caruso, Kaysen, and SJ and Wiggins are going to be going, like, remember, see how many people I named off are going to be going at Ant-Man. They have three guys coming at SGA. Three guys, McDaniel, Alexander Walker, and Ant-Man. Mike Conley can't guard him. We know that. But what do we have? We have Dort, we have Kaysen, we have Caruso, we have Wiggins, and we have SGA coming the other side. Let me see. Angel says, people say, what if Curry was traded when he was young, and would he be as good? I think Shea is the closest thing to that. Well, Shea got traded to the Thunder from Angel got traded. Remember, he was at the Clippers, and he got traded for Paul George. And Doc Rivers was the coach, and they did not want to trade SGA. They wanted to say, Kawhi, you need to keep this guy. You need to play with him. And he wanted Paul George. So the Thunders are here where they are because, number one, Sam Presti, the Clippers are still giving. The gift that keeps on giving. Sam Presti was shrewd enough to be able to get Shea and be able to get all those draft picks from the Clippers. So I don't know if I don't know if Curry would have been as good if he didn't have Steve Kerr. Patrick Mahomes, would he be as good without Andy Reid? He would be still good, but would he be as good? Now, I believe if he'd have went to Sean Payton, yes, he would have. It's about coaching and where you end up, Angel. So let me see. He got the deal with SGA is everybody forgets when he got traded to the Thunder. His first playoff experience, he was killing at the Clippers. Then he comes to us, and what do we win? 17 games or 19 games or whatever. Then right towards the end, you could see, or 20 games we tried to tank or whatever, you could see that SGA started to click. He started to feel himself. Okay? Then we get Josh in year two. Or excuse me, get Josh and him start clicking at the end. Then year three or year two, we get J-Dub. Year three, we got J-Dub and Chet and J-Will. But really, we've only got J-Dub. Then the next year, you get Kaysen and Chet back in year three. Okay? Year four, which is where you are now. Okay? Or year five. I guess year five is now. So is that right? Yeah, year five is now. So you're rolling in year five. Because this is J-Dub's third year. Remember, we got him in year two. So year three. It was year three, year four, year five. So year one was SGA. Year two, we got Josh. Year three, you got J-Dub and Chet. Year four, you got Kaysen. Year five, we added A.J. Mitchell. But what did we do? We added Caruso and Ihart. And now we're rolling. So it's about who you get traded to and what you do. But that foundational piece of SGA and then adding Coach Dagnall, who can develop all those other guys, what that did is it made us that much better. Okay? As a group. Because what Sam Presti learned from the first time around to this time around was y'all can have these big three, but I've got to constantly bring in guys who can support. That's the difference he learned from when we had Durant, Harden, Westbrook, and Ibaka. He didn't draft to support them. He did now, and he does now, which makes all the difference. Which this team registered the best overall point differential and best defense in NBA history. If this team wins the championship, does this team automatically qualify them for Hall of Fame 10 years? When you put down the list of the greatest teams in history, you don't include the 71-72 Lakers who won the 33 games in a row. You don't include the Milwaukee Bucks team that won with Lou Alcindor that won in 70, 71 or whatever it was. You include that Bulls team in 95, 96. You include the Kevin Durant team in 2017 or 2018, whatever year that was. Or was that that year. And you don't include the Celtics from last year. And everybody gripes about that. I mean, I'm not putting them with the Bulls. I'm just not. I'm not putting them with the Sixers, with Dr. J and Moses Malone and Maurice Cheeks and uh, Bobby Jones and Andrew Toney. I'm not putting them with that group. They lost one game. I mean, they lost one game. They just steamrolled everybody. So I'm not putting them with that. This group that we have, however, this year, I think collectively as a group, we're like that 71, 72 Lakers team that won 33 games in a row. I put them with that. That's kind of how I sit them. I don't know if I'm going to put them with that Golden State team that had Kevin Durant and Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond. I'm not putting them in a what's the name, Iguodala. I'm not putting us there, but I do believe that this is one of the greatest collection of wins and losses as a team, 100%. But I don't look at us and go, man, it's one of the greatest teams ever. I don't see us like that, and I could be wrong, but I don't see us like that, Burgess. Take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, SRB. If you have needs for engineering, surveying, or planning, hit our guys up. They love to take care of you, especially if you have a water treatment plant in your city or county. Hit those guys up. They love to take care of you. And like we always say, who the hell does not like clean drinking water? Oak Grove Trucking, if you have needs for dirt, rock, or sand to be moved, hit our guy Jose up. He'll love to take care of you. And also, if you're demolishing a house and you need somebody to haul off all your trash, put it in the back of the truck, hey, do that. He can take that to the dump for you as well. And of course, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912. They are the bank that makes things happen. They're an equal housing lender, member of the FDIC, proud sponsor for us to go out and support women, minority and black-owned businesses in the Oklahoma City area. You can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. Or you can go into one of their 5 locations, the main bank at 401 Elm, 66 steps from historic downtown Yukon, Oklahoma. YB East, which is off the Parkway, and 66 at 39th Expressway. YB Mustang, 218 North Mustang Road. YB Parkway, which is off Garth Brooks and I-40, just south of I-40. Cannot miss it. And then YB Peoples, located on 23rd and Bethany between Rockwell and MacArthur. And the House of Creed, handcrafted since 1760. And by the way, guys, we will be there Thursday doing the pre-show for the Thunder game Thursday night. We will be there, okay? We'll be there celebrating the Thunder, hopefully getting ready to go up 2-0. So we'll be there at the House of Creed. And there's some good smelling stuff. It really is. At Penn Square Mall there at the Dillard's location in the men's department. I believe we're going to do the men's department. I said we need to do the women's department too, but I think we're probably just going to be at them. I think Tanya's just going to have the men's department, which is fine with me. I like their stuff. And as they always said, Matt, remember, pick the best for your best. And I always try to do that. I do. I try to do that. Okay. Now, tonight's game, as we talked about, T-Wolves Thunder, 7:30 ESPN. Thunder, minus 7.5 point favorites, over under 217.5. Man, that's a lot of points. I just look at that and I think it's a lot of points. Now, the T-Wolves are 2-4. Hey, baby, what you doing? What you barking at? Good boy. My fat pit bull here, my big baby. Ace of Facts. Hi, baby. Hi. Love you. He's trying to give me kisses. Anyway, I think that's a lot of points. I really do. I'm gonna probably take the under because they've been off and they're 2-4 when taking breaks. So I don't really trust them to do a whole lot. That's Minnesota I'm talking about. I think the Thunder will be fine, but that's Minnesota that I'm talking about. They're 2-4 when taking games off or taking days off before they play. So we'll see how that works more than a day. I think we'll win. I think the game will be closer, but still at that same time, I think it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay, Calvin, bro, I'm going to go change that. Okay, I'm going to go change that. Leave me alone. I'm going to change that today. So next time we're on, you know what? You need to just come on the air with me. Send me your email, and then this next time you just come on the air with me. How about that? It's Calvin Thompson. Speaking of those guys that you play against, the KU guy, that's what they do. So that's kind of how I look at it. Let me see. Burgess says, to be honest, fully healthy all season with a deeper bench coming into next year, I would not be surprised if this team can win 73 games. I don't know if we're going to win that many. That's a lot of games. But let's focus on tonight first, Burgess. Let's first focus on what you think about tonight, what you think about 7.5-point favorites. 217.5 is the over/under. I think that's a lot of points. I don't know if they're gonna. It's one of two things going to happen. Minnesota's going to come out and they're just going to be hot and on fire because remember they came back from 26 point down, 24, whatever it was. So they believe they can beat us. Okay. On the same time of that, nobody's really they're not really giving them the love and the ability to really say that they're going to win this game. Nobody is. We are. I'm giving them the thought they can win. I just think 7.5 is a lot. But the first thing is they come out and they're smoking. The second thing, they come out rusty. And then we come out doing what we do. And remember, if we beat them 25 or whatever, it's irrelevant. It's one game. It doesn't mean anything. It's one game. It's all you did. Whether you win by 1 or whether you win by 50, it's one game. It's all it is. It's just one game. No matter how you win, you just want to put a W in the column. That's it. But here's the key. You want to protect your home court. Now, do I think we can go to Minnesota and get one? Yes. Do I think they can beat us here? Yes. You saw what the numbers were. The numbers are even this year, 2-2. Now, we should be up 3-1. And I think if we finish that game off, I think would be a different series because we spanked them so bad in that last game at home. They would come out overly excited, overly trying to get back and prove a point that they're not as, that we're not that much better than them. Instead, they come back from way down. They beat us at home, and they have this newfound confidence. Let me see. I don't think Rudy can hang with Chet and iHeart because he's only good against not. I agree. Well, like I said, to me, Rudy and iHeart, I might give a slight edge to iHeart. So that's another one. So that would be 5, I guess. Rudy over him. I mean, iHeart over Rudy if I'm going to do that. But to me, they're pretty much the same. Rudy's a better defender as far as the rim protector, but iHeart is able to score some more. So to me, they zero each other out. So I think that's more even. And he hadn't played against good bigs. That's a fact, Angel. No 100% Angel. That's true. Burgess, I respect the Wolves. I feel that 5.5 points either way sounds reasonable. I agree. I think 7.5 is a lot. But that goes to say that, remember, they're 2-4 after having rest, after sitting out multiple days. So that plays a lot into that account. Okay? But that being said, also Oklahoma City came off a huge win in Game 7. So to me, there's got to be a little bit of letdown there, just a little. But then it also gives the confidence to J-Dub for him to continue his role. Because I can promise you, we're not going to win this without J-Dub. We can win during the regular season without him. But we're not going to win a championship without him. No way. That's not happening. We have to have J-Dub in order to win a chip. There's no way around that. We have to have him. So when I look at that and I look at J-Dub and I look at what he has to do and he has to continue what he did. Now, he only had one quarter. He had 17 points in the quarter. After that, he really didn't do a whole lot, but he didn't need to. SGA went to work on that. And like I said, for him to be 34 out of his last 42, that's crazy. 34 out of his last 42 shots. 34 out of 42 after going 1 for 6. So he's now in a groove. Chet is just playing solid. He hasn't really done anything to. I mean, I know he's playing, but I don't know about Burgess and Angel. I don't know about y'all, but has he really done anything to make you look at him and go, man, Chet's been just great. He hasn't done a whole lot. Burgess, you can play Rudy off the floor, but you can't play iHeart off the floor. It just depends. I can see 2 possible overtime games. J-Dub and Caruso are the X factors for this round. SGA will be who he is. I believe SGA and Caruso are going to be who they are because they've been like that. I think J-Dub, to me, the X factors are Dort, Isaiah Joe, and Wiggins. Okay, to me, those are the X factors, and I've said that since the beginning, of towards the middle of the year. If Dort and Isaiah Joe and Wiggins are knocking down threes, we're not going to get beat by anybody. If they're knocking down threes and consistently, and they're shooting in the middle 40s, all of them, we'll beat them at five. Like Anthony Edwards came on my show. What did he say? UFC, KFC, OKC, Wolves, and five. Remember that, Burgess, when he was on the after the storm, after Game 7 the other night? That's what he said. Anthony Edwards came on and talked about how he was going to bust up SGA. Remember Burgess? You and Angel, I think Angel, you were on too. He talked about how he's going to bust us up. Okay, you're supposed to say that. And he talked about how he whooped our GOAT, my GOAT, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is the best player in Oklahoma City. He's not my GOAT of all the NBA. That would be MJ. So, Angel says, not saying the Wolves aren't as good as they are. J.J. Redick is a trash coach, and Golden State didn't have Curry. I agree. They didn't. They beat up on wounded teams. 100% they did. Burgess, Chet has been casual, but getting 14-plus games. Joe and Wiggins agree on. Additionally, I remember the Edwards take. Yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? I know we all kind of laughed on that one. But Chet, yeah, but you know what I was saying, Burgess, about Chet is he hadn't had a 20-point game yet. He hadn't had that 25 and 13, 25 points, 23, 24 points, 12, 13, 14 boards, 5 blocks, 3 dunks. He hasn't had that. He hadn't had that signature game yet. And SGA had 35 the other night, which it still has not had. He still hasn't had a signature game. His signature playoff game yet. Even though he was a beast in Game 4. Don't get me wrong. I mean Game 5, 6. Excuse me, Game 7. He was a beast. And ever since Game 3, when SGA came out and said, "Hey, I lost that game," whereas our coach after Game 1 was trying to blame it on anything other than saying, "Hey, I made a mistake. Yeah, I should have probably had to foul. I should have let some time run the clock." That's not what he said. And he should have. But he didn't. So, to me, those are the things that, SGA came out, and since then, Game 4, he shut the door, helped shut the door. Game 5, he shut the door. Game 6, he was the only one playing. There was nobody else. Nobody else showed up but him and Caruso. But I meant offensively. And then in Game 7, here comes J-Dub, and SGA is just doing what he was doing. Because SGA was, 11 for 16 or 11 for 17 in Game 6. So he did what he needed to do. Nobody else was anywhere to be found. And I like what I see with our team. I like what we're doing as a group. I like where we are being able to continue playing. And I said that, I wanted the series to keep going on because I wanted us to get back in the groove of playing. Because especially with the bench players, these guys need to play. Or as Shaq and Charles, I'm calling them the others, which is J-Dub, which is Dort, which is iHeart, which is Chet, which is Caruso, which is Kaysen, which is Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, J. Will. Those are your others. Those are the ones that are going to make the difference on whether the Thunder win the chip or not. But to me, it's really simple. Wiggins, Joe, Dort. If they're knocking threes down, I don't give a shit who you are. You're not going to beat us. You're just not. Because what that does is that you can't go into a zone then because we're rolling and you've got to play man-to-man. You can't afford to just let us keep shooting because we're shooting too good. And then that means that Shea is rolling at that particular point. That's why I want him to come out and start establishing himself early instead of being passive. But he'll just, if we don't score, he'll just say, okay, let me go get a bucket. Well, go get a bucket first. Just go get a bucket. Forget what the coach wants. Forget what he's talking about. Go get a bucket. Then J-Dub, because every time we run, the first thing to do, J-Dub brings the ball up the floor to try to get J-Dub the first shot. No, let SGA get going. Then everybody else will go after that. But instead, they want J-Dub to get going first to get him going. Well, get your guy going. Get your number one going. Then everybody else will relax and play. Like I said, when SJ starts scoring, what did the Thunder do? Excel and relax. And then all of a sudden, we start knocking down shots. Give Chet time. He is building up towards it. I just need Chet to stay healthy. I agree, Burgess. I want him to stay healthy, 100%. We need Chet healthy, 100%. We need him healthy. We need to stay healthy as a team. And I agree with the take earlier. You know, the Lakers, they everybody was talking about them. They went and bust them in the mouth. The Lakers are old and they were out of shape and they just bust them in the mouth. And I think Steph Curry is playing. I think it's a completely different series. But the difference between the Thunder and the Wolves is this: the Thunder had got tested against the Nuggets. The Wolves have yet to be tested, and this is an even series. But the beautiful thing about it is the Wolves have already been there, so they've already been to the finals. So they know what it's like to be in the Western Conference Finals. They've already been there. They were there last year, second year in a row. So what does that mean? That means they know what to expect. They know all the things that are coming. So they're a lot more. Uh, they're not intimidated. They're more like, okay, we already know what to expect. The Thunder, however, got hit in the mouth and last year got beat. Had to get past that. Took 7 games to get past that. Now we're at the point where the NBA Finals is in reach. You're at home. Can anybody beat us 4 times? Because I'll go back. The Nuggets only beat us twice. They didn't beat us 3 times. They beat us twice. We gave them a game. They beat us twice. And that's my thing I've said all year. I don't know if anybody can beat us 4 times. 4 times with our defense, because defense travels. I don't know if that can happen. Let me see. Burgess, my last take. Let me see. SGA's best Canadian player ever over Nash. I agree with that. Nash got 2 MVPs. That second one was ridiculous. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous. My last take. I do feel decent that SJ won the MVP. But Presti is communicating with the league to keep off the team focused. Someone had told me that I had forgot that the Thunder, they give out the MVP to, they gave it out, I think it was Kevin Durant or Russell, whatever. They did a press conference and gave him the MVP. They did not put it in front of the fans. And to me, I understand Sam Presti's deal. He doesn't want to give the team, the opposing team, Anthony Edwards, any sort of credibility or any sort of incentive. That's what I'm looking for, incentive. But our fans deserve it. But remember, the MVP is given out over TNT. So if SGA won't get the MVP, if he does get it, he'll get it Thursday. Because tomorrow's game's on TNT. They'll announce the MVP. They do that announce it'll be on TNT. And then SGA will get the award. Now, here's the question. Are they going to give out they're going to tell everybody who won it tomorrow and then do a private deal and give it to SGA in front of the media only? Or are they going to wait to Thursday to give it in front of SGA in front of the home crowd? That's the $1 million question. Okay? That's the $1 million question. And I think it's also interesting that the NBA chose to give TNT the Knicks and the Pacers game versus ESPN getting the Western Conference. I thought that was the same. Let me see. Yes, and it would have hyped up Jokic if we did that against Denver. But my deal is, how the hell you don't know how do you not know who the MVP is? How do you not know who the MVP is? There's no way you don't know that. Now, I agree with Sam. I agree with you not want Jokic to get any more advantage, but against Minnesota, Ant-Man is going to be already hyped up to beat SGA. So I don't, that's pathetic. I'm out there. Sam up here playing chess. I agree with that. He's definitely up there playing chess. Angel, Nash, second MVP was questionable. No, I respect Nash's game, but that second MVP, that was Kobe. Remember, that's when Kobe got in trouble with the girl in Colorado. Remember that with the rape thing? That was BS. That right there, that was Kobe's. But then once again, the media holding stuff up, dude. How do you not give it to the best player? That's Kobe. Kobe was a killer that year. He was a killer that year. And he should have won. That was a joke. And players are still laughing about that. But Nash is going to take the MVP, even though there's an asterisk on it. 100%. But the whole thing is this. Everybody knows now who the MVP is. It just hasn't been announced. And a lot of people thought that they were going to give it to the winner of this series, of the last series, Nuggets and Thunder. I'm like, okay, so if Jokic wins, beats the Thunder, then Jokic gets the MVP? And if the Thunder win, then SGA gets the MVP? If you already know the cat, so then what is that? What is that? That's pathetic. Angel, yes. Shaq's MVP, yes. And I'm sorry, no. Jokic is the best player in the league. That's not. I mean, I'm an SGA guy, but Jokic is the best player. I mean, you are a hater if you don't think Jokic is the best player in the NBA. That's not it. The most valuable player this year was SGA. The most valuable player to me last year was SGA. Okay? And I think the same people who voted for SGA last year are the same people who voted for SGA this year. And like I've said many times on this show and on After the Storm, if SGA plays against against Philadelphia, he plays against Boston, and he plays against Indiana, those 3 games are on ESPN that he was hurt. And remember, he hit the game winner first to start out with the Knicks. Remember, he hits the game winner at Madison Square Garden for us to beat the Knicks. And then he missed the next 3 games. If he plays in all those 3 games and he does what he did last year, or he was busting the way he was doing, I believe SJ would have won the MVP. But because we were never on TV and nobody got to see him play, that's why Jokic won it last year. I believe that with everything in me. But you had to watch us play last year to see what was going on, and no one did. And then what happens? We get beat in the second round. But what happened was they got to see enough of him like, oh, man, this guy's ridiculous. And then this year, remember, he was the player of the NBA for November. He was the NBA player in December. And he was the NBA player of the month for March. So no December, no January and February. So out of the 4 months, or the 5 months, or what was it? April was the last. So out of the 4 months, he was MVP out of 5 months. He was MVP 3 out of 5 months. Burgess, talk to y'all later. Yes, post-game after the storm. Yes, regardless of the outcome. Yes, sir. I hope tonight is not a blowout either way. I agree. Yeah, Burgess, we will be on tonight on After the Storm doing our thing, and I believe that it's going to be a win, but I hope it's not a blowout either because I hate blowouts. There's nothing really to talk about in blowouts. We kicked our butt. I mean, there's nothing. I hate blowouts. But I do think the game is going to be closer than what people think. I really do, and I'm excited about it as well. So, but anyway, that being said, hey, everybody get some rest. I've got to go train some kids at the gym today. You guys do what you need to do. Get some rest. Get ready for the night. Get all your Thunder gear and be ready to cheer on the Thunder. Go to a bar. If you're going to be at home, get your beer, get your cocktails ready, and